What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Tim's Sports Talk. And today we're going through the post-game analysis for this Washington Commanders hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. Washington falls 38-31 in a really fun, great game. Right, Eagles did pull away with a 14-point lead, then Washington got a garbage touchdown, but Washington had a 14-3 early in the game and really stayed in the fight all the way up until later in the fourth quarter. Sam Howell played the best game he has played so far in a Commanders uniform. He went 39 of 52, 397 yards, 4 touchdowns, but he did have one unfortunate, really bad interception in the fourth quarter that proved to be costly. But at the same time, Washington's defense has got to step up and help Sam Howell in this game. He puts up 31 points as a 9th game starter, rookie in his career. Come on, defense. You got to step up and make plays because they did not. First and foremost, I have to give Eric Bieniemy so much credit in this game. He came out on his A game with quick screens, quick passes, and he didn't run the ball all that much, but it was effective, especially early in the game. We had a 29-yard run with Brian Robinson, but you could see Brian Robinson only had 10 carries for 59 yards. It was extension of the run game, like people like to call it, right? The screen passes, the quick game. It turns it into, yes, it's a pass technically, but it still does the objective of what the run game does, which is to slow down the pass rush. And Sam Howell, because of it, only got sacked one time for 9 yards. Now, that's not to say that the pass rush didn't get some pressure around the young man, but he was handling it quite well today. He stepped up into the pocket, had a couple chances to run. He ended up with 3 carries for 11 yards, but he also had chances to just keep his eyes downfield and make plays with his arm. One play I can think of is when he escaped to the right side of the pocket with pressure, getting chased by Josh Sweat, and yet he was able to throw on the run for a strike to Jahan Dotson. Sam Howell and Eric Bieniemy were tremendous today, and I have to give a lot of credit to Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy has been struggling so far as a play caller behind this terrible offensive line, right? And we knew that going into the season, the offensive line was terrible. And the offensive line did still have its struggles today, but it played a lot better with Tyler Larson at center and Chris Paul at left guard. Sadiq Charles on IR, I believe, and Nick Gates gets benched today. I don't know why they didn't go with Ricky Stromberg in today's game instead of Chris Paul, but Ricky Stromberg ended up getting hurt on the field goal attempt, the first PAT, so he's actually out of the game, so now he's not even an option, even if he wanted it. So anyway, just had to give a big shout out to EB out the gate. Sam Howell spread this ball around big time. You had 8 catches, 108 yards, a touchdown for Jahan, 7 catches, 95 yards, a touchdown for Jamison Crowder. Terry McLaurin had 5 catches, 63 yards, and a touchdown, and Logan Thomas had 6 catches, 44 yards, and a touchdown. Big, spreading the ball around, getting the ball out quickly in his hands, reading the defense quite well as also. Love that from Sam Howell. Love it, love it, love it. Offensively, I thought we did plenty to win this game. Obviously, when you put 31 points on the board, you expect to come away with a W. So now let's move on to the defense. First off, big credit to Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. They stepped up and made big plays when they needed it the most, especially A.J. Brown. 8 catches, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. One hand grab in the end zone that was just nasty against Benjamin St-Juste. Just nasty. And Benjamin St-Juste had pretty good coverage on the play, but it's only where A.J. Brown has a chance to get a hand on the football, and he only could get one, and yet he brought it in and stayed in bounds. Huge play from A.J. Brown. And then A.J. Brown just, again, scored a touchdown on Manuel Forbes. He had a couple of big plays on Manuel Forbes. Forbes didn't play much, but for some reason they brought him in to cover A.J. Brown yet again, even though he got benched because he was covering A.J. Brown a few weeks ago. So don't know why they went back to that well, because the well was clearly dry. Devontae Smith had his touchdown on a complete botched coverage. Nobody covered the deep third of the left side of the field, left side of the offense, right side of the defense. Nobody covered it, and Devontae Smith had literally had a walk-in touchdown by himself. Danny Johnson or Kendall Fuller, not sure who was supposed to be that deep third guy, Either way, they both let him run right by, easy touchdown. Julio Jones made a nice catch as well. I believe that was on Benjamin St-Juste. Also, St-Juste, he's right there in a lot of ways, but he's not the guy. He's not the Sauce Gardner that you want. He's not that shutdown corner. He has moments that are really, really good, but he's not great. I don't know how many times we ran the cover 4. That's going to be something that we have to go to the film review for, and that'll be on Tuesday. But overall, I thought Jack Del Rio called a much better defense than he has in the past, especially early in the game. He was calling blitzes, trying to get some pressure. Now, that being said, we weren't getting a lot of pressure. That offensive line for the Eagles was tremendous. They really stifled our defensive line pretty much the entire football game. Hurts had so much time to do what he needed to do. But at the same time, there was a little bit of pressure, and it caused Jalen Hurts to be a little bit off early in the game, which is why we jumped out to a nice lead. And overall, I thought he called a better game. I really did. I thought he called a better game than he has in the past. But that's something that we're going to have to go to the film review. But at the same time, there's just too many mistakes. And also, shout out again to the Eagles. They really stepped up and made plays when they needed to. You know, the other team gets paid also, and sometimes they just call the right play and make the right play at the right time. So big plays there. Moving on to the head coach that needs to be fired immediately, effective immediately. There's so many reasons that I could go on and on and on about over the last 3 or 4 years he's been here that I can say he needs to go. He is a terrible head coach. Great human being, great character, terrible head coach. And today's big problem was the red flag in his pocket. There was a 4th and 4 that could have completely changed the trajectory of this game, that Devontae Smith dropped the pass. The entire sideline on Washington's jumping, throw the flag, throw the flag, throw the flag. Ron Rivera and his coaching staff up in the booth, whoever was the one that tells him to throw that flag, way too slow. Then he's yelling at the refs because he didn't get the flag out in time. You have to throw that flag in that spot, because a couple of plays later, it turned into a touchdown. If we get that stop there, this game is completely different. Then it was a whole horrible situation from the refs. They call it a catch for Jahan Dotson. Then there's a injury timeout, and they move the chains, say it's first down and everything. But then for some reason, they come back to Ron Rivera and say, hey, it's actually an incomplete pass. Do you want to challenge? And then Ron challenged it. I understand you're frustrated. It's still 4th and 5. But whoever threw the challenge flag there was never going to succeed. There was not nearly enough evidence one way or the other to overturn the call. You kind of see it's loose, but you don't know if the ball hit the ground, and you also don't know if it didn't. So because they called it incomplete, there's no way you can overturn that, but he got emotional. He was so upset, and he threw that flag anyway, and then cost us a timeout down the stretch. Tough situation for Ron Rivera. I don't know, like Ron Rivera, he's so bad in so many ways. So bad. And, you know, this was the Code Red game of 2023. If you think back forever, a minute ago with Kirk Cousins, you like that game. Before that, Jay Gruden called it the Code Red game. That was this game. They talk about, all the reports were saying, if depending on the outcome of this game, the Washington Commanders are going to turn into a fire sale. And that might be what's coming up this next week, is a lot of trades. A lot of our guys may be out the door, mainly Chase Young, Montez Sweat, maybe Cameron Curl. I don't think Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, or Terry are on the trade block, but you know what? I wouldn't be shocked if one of them hit the road because of what's going on. But maybe even somebody else down the line, like Jamison Crowder showing a lot of big plays right now. Maybe a team wants to throw a 5th-round pick or something at Jamison Crowder, bring in another weapon like the Chiefs or something like that. They already did that though with McCole Harmon. So maybe somebody else will take a look at Jamison Crowder, see maybe if they throw a late-round pick or maybe like a swap of picks or something late. Like I would exchange like a 6th and a 5th and get rid of Crowder at this point if you're going to fire sell anyway. You know, Jamison Crowder is a guy that you just brought in off the street. He's an older guy. He's not a guy that's going to demand a high trade value unless a team's super desperate, but I doubt it. But maybe somebody else like down the line, maybe they get a trade offer as well. But that's where we sit currently, and we fall to 3 and 5. Eagles move to 7 and 1. Washington has a decision to make this week, and we'll see what they decide to do. I'm hoping that they fire Ron, give EB a chance, see what EB can do the rest of the way. But what I really hope they do is they go young and they bring in Alec Hallaby from the Eagles as the GM. Right now, he's the assistant GM over there for the Eagles. Hopefully, he learned a lot under the tutelage of Howie Roseman. He's also an analytical guy. He's been there since 2007. He started over there as an analytical guy from Harvard. Smart individual. Would love to bring him in as a talent evaluator and an analytical GM for this team. And then I would love to get Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Lions. Of course, I know they had a terrible showing last week against the Ravens, but overall, I think the schematics are extremely good for him, and he's another young coach. It's really a matter of who does he bring in as a defensive coordinator. That's a big question I would ask before I hire him is who do you plan on bringing in as a defensive coordinator? Because if he brings in one of those cover for Jack Del Rio types or whoever ran the defensive coordinators for the Vikings last year who was terrible, or the Vic Fangio, or somebody along those lines that love to run these soft zones and just get sliced and diced all game, then I don't want Ben Johnson. I want somebody like the D'Amico Ryans, like the Robert Salah, the Brian Floreses of the world, somebody that's not afraid to mix it up with the blitz, get in there, try to force the quarterback to make quick decisions and make mistakes and get those turnovers rather than just let the QB sit back there all day long and just pick you apart. Bang, 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 touchdown. And it's super frustrating. So anyway, that's where I sit on that, and we'll see how it continues. But thanks for watching, and shout out to all of you in the chat. It was a lot of fun during the live stream. If you don't already know, I do the live stream play-by-plays. Come hang out. And for this one, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're so close to 5,000. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time. And until next time, see ya!